Hey, this is the Baitmaster Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Noah Boyd. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about all the aspects of fishing, everything from first bite to in the boat. Let's dive in.
We went for each other like a bullet from a gun. Faster than the sheriff's drawing, hotter than the sun. Didn't see it coming lately, I've been on the run. You know you've seen my face before, so let me tell you something.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first Baitmaster Fishing Podcast episode. For today's topic, we're going to talk about fishing boats. So, to start off, I got a question for y'all. If you were to own a fishing boat, what fishing boat would you own? Would you go with like a little tracker for like a lake? Would you go for maybe a yacht out on the Gulf or like in the ocean? Or maybe like a center console? Well, if you don't know what the type of like fishing boats are, or like what kind of fishing boat you'd even like, or what you think is cool, today we're going to talk about that. So, my personal favorite is probably the HCB center console or a Viking 90, which is like a huge fishing yacht. They're huge. So, I'll talk about Viking for a little bit. Viking is a huge and really popular fishing boat brand, and they make not really like open boats, but it's more like enclosed. So I just think that they're cool. But like for the HCB, I think it's a really sick like personal boat for yourself, and you can also take it fishing. It's really good for that. So today we're going to talk about all the different types of fishing boats. Everything from cost and like maintenance and all that if we get to it. And then like just kind of what they're used for, and yeah. So I'll start off with flatboats. Usually you're taking those out on like a lake or some type of reservoir. Like you wouldn't take a tracker out usually like past maybe like an inlet or like not out in the Gulf, just kind of on lakes and stuff. Mainly like very calm waters is the point. So types of trackers, you can usually get them at like Bass Pro shops and stuff like that. They're pretty nice. Usually they cost like, I think the most expensive is probably like 2 to 300,000. Hold on, I can look that up real quick. Let's look at average tracker cost. Tracker boat cost. Yeah, I mean nice ones can go for like if you want to, like if you're talking about like all the stuff that's included with it, you're probably talking like maybe okay if you're like just to run it yearly if you're using it a lot. But for like cost, just basic level stuff, it's like 15 to 20,000, and it's not even that expensive. Which you can get a pretty nice one for that too. Here, we'll look at tracker boats. I'll share my screen. So here's what a tracker boat looks like. So you see these, right? Like usually it's like you're driving on the side, you have some space up front, and then right here at the front, you can see a trolling motor, and then usually it's got an engine in the back, but it's like very open, very like kind of tiny, but they're nice for like lake fishing. Usually when I go fishing up in Canada, that's what we take, and they're pretty nice. So next is flat boats. So flat boats, let's look at those. Flat boats. No, not flat bats, flat boats. There we go. So they're kind of like small too, but it's kind of just like mainly used for like when you're fishing in inlets, like coastal inlets, and you're fishing for like jack and redfish and all types of stuff. They're kind of tiny too. Let's look at cost. I mean, these are kind of like nice ones, I'd say. Like 15 to 17. Highest is like 20. That's for really nice ones. You get a pretty nice one for 20K. But overall, I think those are really cool. Now, let's talk about my favorite. My favorite. Center consoles. Not that. Boat images. All right, so for center consoles, usually you have 1 to 2 engines. Like for all these you see over here, you see they have 2 engines, mainly, or 1. But like some of these huge ones, like this one right here, that is, it looks like an HCB or like a Valhalla, but that has 4. So these are my favorite because that's what I take when I go fishing off the coast. And usually we'll go on a fishing trip and we'll go like 40 miles out, and it's so cool. But these are sick. And if you want them, they're really sick. Usually, let's look at like cost. Oh, we'll look at the biggest one. So I know what the biggest one's called. It's the HCB 65 Estrella. This thing is an absolute unit. My lord. Look at that. That's insane. So, cost, that's like a $3 million boat right there. But it's also 65 feet long. It's got, let's see, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 engines. And you're looking about probably $80,000 for each engine, plus all the stuff on board and stuff. Like, absolute unit of a boat right there. Holy cow. It's also just cool to look at. That's the center consoles are my favorite because like you're just taking those to, you're like, you literally can take them anywhere. But like if you're talking inlets, like coastal inlets or oceans out in the deep sea, those are sick. Usually, I think for like 1 to 2 engines on them, they're costing like maybe K to maybe 150 if it's like 1 to 2 engines and they're like brand new. But if you're talking like huge ones like that, where it's got like 5 to 6 engines, definitely getting up in the price range of like 3 to 6 million, or like anywhere between 1 to 4, I'd say. But that's just from me looking and like being curious. All right, now we'll talk about the big kahunas, the absolute giants, the yachts, the fishing yachts. So I'll share my screen. Look at Viking 90 images. All right, look at this. These are huge. Like, I cannot stress how big they are. Look at that. So usually you're taking like all your buddies out on a trip and that thing. Like you ain't just going by yourself. You know what I mean? Like those are huge. So hold up, we'll look. Cabin space. Like look at this. It's got its own kitchen and a bar. Look at this, the layout. Let's count how many bedrooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I believe that's 8 because it's a bunk bed. 8 bedrooms on this 90-foot yacht. That's crazy. That's insane. Like I don't think, like if you're owning that boat, you're definitely going on numerous amounts of fishing trips, and you're definitely going with your friends or like a lot of people, because 8 bedrooms is insane. But like, look at this. Look at the helm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens, 3 captain's chairs, wheel in the middle, all your controls, and it's covered. Like, that's just so nice of a boat. Like, it's actually insane. Oh my gosh. I mean, look at it. It's huge. So, this is like a first floor. I saw a video earlier. The engine room is like right in there, and it goes all the way from here to here. And then the cabins are like from here all the way to there. And then first floor right in here, you got like your kitchen. Second floor is the helm where you got all your controls. And then back in here, you zoom in, back in here, you have like a backwards like so you can back your boat in, and then on top that's like the third level open space so you can drive. But that's just crazy. I mean, look at that. So we'll look at cost. I mean, and this is the flagship. So I mean, of course it's going to be huge, and of course it's going to be expensive. But let's just look. See right here. The base cost of the Viking 90 is just under 12.2 million. And that's as of March 2023. So think about it. Almost 2 years ago, this thing is like 12.2 million brand new. But this is like they make new ones, so it's probably around like 15. That's crazy. $15 million for a boat. I wonder how much it costs to keep up. Annual, let's look. All right, so it says for like running a yacht, 10 to 15% of the purchase price. So that'd probably be around 1 point or 100. I don't say 100. Let's just go with the fact that it's probably around $1 million a year to run because of fuel and all the stuff you have to keep up with. But that's just crazy. I mean, what? $15 million for a boat, and then probably an additional 15 or 10 $1 million to run it. That's great. That's like if you're running it for 3 years, that's like 18 million in total. That's insane. So for that boat, like engine types, that has a built-in engine, which is like you have an engine room. I think that one has 2 diesel engines in the engine room, and then it's got its Seakeeper, which if you don't know what a Seakeeper is, that's like it's like a giant circle on your boat, and it keeps it like when you're in chop, it keeps it so it's level and you're not just flying all over the place on the water. So it's got an engine room, and then the Seakeeper is like in the back of the engine room slash like under the fishing deck, and then 2 diesel engines priced out about for that. If you're saying like 15 million, it's got to be at least like 150 per engine because that's insane. But for like center consoles and stuff, like all right, let's look at HCB. These are all flagships too. So just to give you like, this is the biggest ships that each company has. So 6 to 5 engines, and it's 3 million a piece. That's probably like 75 to 80 per engine. And so this boat specifically does not have like built-in engines. It has exterior engines, which I believe are, I think it's either you can have Quint Yamahas or Sext like Mercuries. So either 5 Yamaha engines or 6 Mercury engines. So probably around 75 to 80 per, which is crazy. I mean, but look at that. That's so cool. Like this guy's got, this is like custom too, because like all gray. The engine boards are all gray. He's got his American flag, trolling poles, second floor. Yeah, like this second floor piece is definitely like aftermarket. Because like the rest of them don't have it. Like that one doesn't have it. This one doesn't have it. This is the only one that has it. Which that's cool though. Like if you did that to your boat, that'd be actually sick. But anyway, now we'll talk about what the rest of them have. So, like for center consoles, I'd say the popular fishing brands are probably like things like Valhalla and HCB and Yellowfin and what else? I mean, we could really just look it up. Here, I'll look it up real quick. Popular center console boat brands. Boston Whaler, Grady White. Grady White was in if you watched Outer Banks, that was like the first boat that they encountered. Contender, Pursuit boats, those are sick. So like look at this one, Pursuit 428. So this is Pursuit's flagship. Like this one looks tiny compared to the other ones, but that's also the largest center console in the world. The other one, the HCB 65, is the largest center console in the world. This is probably like half that. It's like 50 feet long. But this is nice because like you got a nice little couch in the front. Like the helm is cool. It's got quad Yamahas, it looks like, or maybe that's quad Mercuries. I don't know. And then definitely like the below deck is definitely in here. And then you definitely got like a little viewing area. That's what tells me that it's below there, is because why would they put this glass pane right here? Like it's definitely to look out. But that'd be cool. And then you can see like right on the side right here, it's got its little like open board where you can lay that down, and then bait wells, storage in the back. That's so cool. And then it's got the rod holders and then the trolling pulls. So this is cool. I mean, we could really just watch a video about it if we wanted to, but we can do that later. So we'll talk about trackers. So like trackers usually have one. Usually they have one engine on them. So like if I looked up a picture of a tracker boat, yeah, see like look at this, one engine, one engine, one engine, one engine. That's just because they're tiny. You don't really need a lot of like horsepower on those to get them going. But those are cool. I mean, that's probably why they're so inexpensive, is because like, well, like they are expensive, but like compared to the other ones, they're like $20,000. But that's only because they have one engine. So let's see, what does this have on it? Yeah, see, those are so the different. So there's tons of different brands of engines that you'll know about. The most popular are Mercury, Yamaha, and I mean those are really the only two that I can name that I've ever seen. But those are really cool. Like that's what most people have, and usually they're like different colors, or different colors based on horsepower, how big the engine is, output, input, different types of stuff like that. So usually they're pretty expensive depending on the boat you have, but like it all depends. It's all like a unique type deal. So let's talk about like why even have a fishing boat? Why wouldn't you just like rent one out? So in my like I don't own a fishing boat, but from what people have told me is that basically it's nice to have a fishing boat because you can take it out whenever you want and how often you want to do it. But the problem is the cost to operate, which is the problem. So I think really if you wanted a boat, I would not buy one unless you're like capable of keeping it up. Like you may be able to afford the basic like base cost, but if you can't afford like the gas for it and all that different type of stuff, it's really not even worth buying. Like you might as well just rent at that point. You know what I mean? So like renting, the problem with that is it's not like really yours, and you can only go so far with it, and it costs money to rent. And sure, it's cheaper, but it's like if you can buy a boat and you want to buy a boat, then go ahead and buy a boat. But don't rent if you don't want to rent. You know what I mean? That's just the overall story. In my opinion. You can ask other people and they'll tell you different things. But I think it'd be cool to have a boat. And if you don't want to like use somebody else's, then just you could buy one. But that's just what I say. Like when I go up to Canada and we go fishing on Lake of the Woods, the hotel we stay at, they rent out boats for you, which the problem with that is they're not very nice and they're not really like sure like they'll get you by, but it's like sometimes you have to like fix the boat or the engine won't start, or like which if you do have that problem, I guess it'd be nice because it's not like you don't have to fix it and it's not yours, which I guess is another take on it. But you know, I just think that owning your own boat would be kind of cool, and it's just better in general. Just like for care about your boat, like maintenance and stuff, like this is kind of boring, but it's kind of important. So we used to have a pontoon, and the so if you're gonna have a boat, biggest thing is like rinsing your engines, keeping them well kept and all that. Just like don't be lazy when it comes to the maintenance, because then you just ruin it and it's stupid and you have to cause more and you need more money to fix your mistakes, which is dumb. Also just like washing your boat every so often when it's dirty, or like the bottom, you need to call somebody to get it scrubbed, or like get a lift and scrub it yourself, which lifts are so expensive. Let's talk about that. Like if you're getting a lift for your boat, hold up, I'll show you guys. Boat lift. So I don't know if you know what I mean when I say boat lift, but like one of these, you know what I mean? It takes your boat out of the water, but those are so expensive. But if you're like living in Florida where it's like tons of barnacles and stuff and like hurricane season all the time, I can see how it'd be necessary. But like the level of expense, especially for like the nice ones, like let's look. Let's say for these are really used. I don't want that. All right, so for a 6,000 pound beamless lift, it's like $9,000, which to some people that doesn't seem like a lot, but it kind of is, if you know what I'm talking about. Like these are really expensive, and they're really expensive to keep up too. Like sure, they're nice to have, and I bet it save you money, because like if you're living in Florida or like any type of coastal like ocean type thing, the barnacles will like on this boat. Basically, this entire white part can get covered in barnacles if you don't like raise it up or have somebody come scrape it, which that can be really bad for your boat too if you don't keep up with it. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show how expensive those can be. And you can rent some. I think some people have told me like you can rent them, but it's still like kind of expensive. But oh, so gadgets for your boat. So if you have a boat, basically any boat I've been on ever, always, every single time, without fail, has the boat beanbag. And if you don't know what the boat beanbag is, like let me just inform you on what the boat beanbag is. Boat beanbag. Yeah, these things, dude, you know what I'm talking about? My gosh, they're so comfortable. Let me tell you, I have had many a nap in these things where they're like, I'm just dozed off after a long day of fishing. And I'm like coming back in from the coast, and I can't drive the boat yet, but let me tell you, these are a must if you're gonna get a boat. Like this one even got like friggin' hand rests on it. But like the boat beanbag is definitely a necessity, if you ask me. But you know, you don't have to get it. I'm just saying they're the best, and you definitely should. Let's see, what other necessities could you get? Basically, like anything for maintenance, like good scrubbers, good soap, a hose, just any type of that stuff. Like, just helps you keep your maintenance on your boat better and easier and not so hard and like less difficult. Basically, anything that's inexpensive to get, I just get it. You know what I mean? Like, keep it easy on yourself so that you don't have to do tons and tons of work and tons of maintenance and spend tons of money, because that's just stupid. Just like keep your boat clean. You know what I mean? What else? Let's see. I'm trying to think. No, it's really all I got for like gadgets, but that's just me. Yeah. I just think in general, like overall, boats really good investment. But to some people they're not, but it's all about how much you use them. And like really again, really good types of boat brands. Viking, HCB, Yellowfin, Valhalla, any type of tracker boat. Like make it so that you enjoy it, but it's also like affordable. You know what I mean? And so keep in mind the engine costs and the maintenance costs and the annual like keeping the boat up costs and all that. It's all about cost. Like basically anything with a boat, it's all about the money. How much you put into it is how nice it comes out. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I got for you tonight. Thanks for watching. Make sure to listen on your favorite streaming device. Soon I'll be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then it'll be on YouTube. Thanks for listening.